Hi everyone, my name is Justin Allen Hayes, founder of the House of You, and today I'm going to touch on each of these three areas of focus in my video. One is bridging the gap of employable skills, two is work-based learning, and three, life-based skills with specifics for each. So let's get started. For bridging the gap of employment skills, I am going to talk about transferable skills. These are skills that your students are learning today that they can take with them to their employment tomorrow. One, communication. Communication is huge. The spoken word, the written word, and the electronic word, whether that is via email, whether that is via text. That is something that students are doing today that they can take with them tomorrow to employment. Two is integrity. What a person stands for, whether they are honest, whether they are forthcoming, is huge for an organization who doesn't want to have their organization show up in the headlines for a negative reason, whether it is a negative product, service, launch, flaw, or an employee. So integrity is huge as well. That is two. Three is project management. In each of your courses, there are projects, there are assignments that students are required to do for completion to earn a grade in your course. That is the same thing in the workplace. Working on projects, completing projects by deadlines, taking exams, talking with others. Project management is number three. Four is teamwork. Working with an instructor like yourself, working with other students, or working with maybe a local business owner. That is something that students can take with them today to the workplace. And five is personal brand. Personal brand is everything that your students are doing from the time they wake up to the time that they go to bed. Employers not only want to hire somebody to do the job that they are requesting, but they want an individual that is not going to have negative headlines come up via social media posts, via thoughts or potentially negative actions that they take. So an individual's personal brand is what those students are going to take with them to the employment interview, to the workplace, and ultimately show their value to the employer. Number two, for work-based learning, we're going to talk about three areas. One is volunteering. Anybody can volunteer, whether that is opening a door for someone who is walking behind you, whether that is volunteering at a homeless shelter, whether that is volunteering at a soup kitchen, whatever that may be, Habitat for Humanity. Volunteering is a skill that is work-based in that you are doing work, and that work can be equated to the real world. In volunteering, you're going to be working with others, you're going to be completing tasks. So students who volunteer are going to be in great shape. It is also going to be an area that students can talk to in an employment interview when asked, what additional things should we learn about you? Here, students are able to talk about those volunteering times and what the students did and the value that they received for those volunteering hours. Two, shadowing. So shadowing can be following an individual, a friend, a family member, an alumni, anyone through potential interest in job. And a shadowing opportunity allows the students to see firsthand what happens in a normal workday, which even during a pandemic isn't the most normal of times. Shadowing will let those individuals, those students, learn how a job is to be completed, what things are to be completed, how they're to be completed, who those employees interact with on a daily basis, what communication methods are being used, what project management, how teamwork is important, how personal branding and integrity, all those areas that we just talked about, and bridging that gap of employment skills is going to be an area that students are going to be able to undertake in a shadowing opportunity. And then third, mentorship. Finding a mentor can be as easy as talking with a parent, talking with you as an instructor, a teacher, understanding that a mentor is someone you can talk to about just about anything, about job opportunities, about areas of interest, about concerns you may have or a student may have. These are individuals that are going to be able to help students along in their employment process. In fact, some employment opportunities do arise in those mentorship meetings. So sometimes students or mentors in general are going to be individuals that are going to learn about job opportunities probably before they're even listed on a organization's website. So mentorship is huge. Alumni love to give back. I would recommend reaching out to alumni. I would also ask if they would be willing, the alumni, to come back in a, let's call it a professor for a day opportunity, where that individual would come into your classroom and talk about what they do on a day-to-day basis, how their education has provided the skills and the tools for them to not only survive but thrive in the workplace. That would be an area that I would be interested in as an instructor, as well as letters of recommendation. Individuals love to be able to provide areas where they can help others. And a letter of recommendation, whether that is through you as an instructor or whether that is through a mentorship program, a relationship that is handled, that is going to be an area that is so huge that students are going to feel more empowered when they have those letters of recommendation, those individuals like yourselves that want to help and want to help put those individuals, those students, in position to survive and thrive in the workplace. And then lastly, the life skills. 1, respect others. This is a very core principle to understand, especially in today's world. Respect others for the individuals, the uniqueness that they are, and those individuals will in turn respect you back. 2, punctuality. Showing up to class on time, showing up to a meeting, showing up to a sporting event, a practice. All those things are going to be areas that in the workplace are going to be very important. Showing up to a job interview on time could be a delineating factor that separates a candidate from their competition, as well as each day on the workforce. Showing up on time, if not a few minutes early, is going to show management that the student and now employee or intern or individual shadowing, for that matter, is very serious when it comes to the workforce. 3, continuous learning. I can't stress this enough. At 39 years old, I am still learning things, learning different topics, learning more about areas that I have interest of, finding ways to get better, to learn. That could be through a book, that could be through research on a company's website, that could be reading news articles, that could be joining a local Toastmasters group to learn how to be a better presenter in the workforce, or just be more confident in yourself is huge. 4 is being adaptable. As we've seen with the pandemic, nothing is given, everything is earned, things change on a dime. And so it's very important that students learn to be adaptable. Things change, and students will have to change along with that. So the more adaptable a student is, the better that student is going to be when change inevitably comes. And 5, be a CEO. Be a CEO of yourself. While we may not be all CEOs at some point with an organization, we are all CEOs of ourselves. We have control for the most part over when we wake up, when we go to bed, the information that we read, that we listen to with our ears, see with our eyes, touch with our hands, scroll with our fingers. Be a CEO. Be that person that's fiscally responsible with finances. Be that person that, by being a CEO of yourself, is going to put you and your students in the best possible position to survive and thrive in the workplace, as well as be ready for those opportunities that come that may inevitably give those students the opportunity to be a CEO of an organization. While all these areas that I talked about are very important for an individual, these are not all the areas that are important for students. All these areas can be found in my work, The House of You, 5 Workforce Preparation Tips for a Successful Career, where I document how from the ground up, as ground is cleared, as a foundation is built, as the first floor is put together all the way up to the roof and the house maintenance, so too in a student's workforce in their career, should they think about building their house professionally by being that individual, that personal brand that individuals and organizations want to hire, not just for the skill set that they are bringing to the organization, but for the people that are going to be representing those individuals in that business on a day-to-day basis. Additionally, mental health cannot be overlooked as it has been in the past. As we all as individuals have physical health, we all have mental health. And so with that, I have also put together my mental health journey in book format so individuals can learn what it's like to have mental health, mental illness, how it is possible to not just survive, but thrive in life, in the workplace. And I have included all of that story in The House of You, Prescription for Living. And both of these resources are something I've dedicated my life to, as well as helping students be the best people, the best individuals that they can possibly be. And so it's my great honor to be able to raffle a copy of each, the Prescription for Living Mental Health Journey, as well as The House of You, 5 Workforce Preparation Tips for a Successful Career. I am so excited that I was able to share with each of you today and throughout the week. You are all awesome. You are all great people educating our students, the future leaders, is one of the greatest responsibilities that a human being can have. Thank you and have a great day.